On the morning of August 6, 1945, all was quiet in Hiroshima, Japan. Suddenly, a great flash lit up the city, followed by a thunderous boom. 80,000 lives were gone in the blink of an eye. On that fateful day, a new age was brought in, the nuclear age. The destructive power of the atom bomb was displayed to the entire world. The bomb sent a message to the international community: oppose the United States and prepare to face the same fate. Joseph Stalin, leader of the Soviet Union, received that message loud and clear. Following the atomic bombings of Japan, he demanded all-out effort devoted to developing the Soviet Union's own atomic bomb. On August 29, 1949, the Soviet Union tested their first nuclear bomb, codenamed First Lightning. The following years saw numerous hostilities between the Soviet Union and the US, with the Soviet blockade of West Berlin, Soviet-backed Communist China coming to power, and Soviet-backed North Korea invading US-backed South Korea. Both the US and the Soviet Union built up their nuclear arsenals, ready to destroy each other many times over. Americans came to realize that the threat of nuclear strikes by the Communist Soviets was very real.
The Americans became presently terrified of the concept of communism taking control of their country. The Red Scare took a grip on the American people. This sense of fear became the essence of the political atmosphere during the 1950s in America, and Senator Joseph McCarthy took the fear to an extreme.
Today, the most dangerous enemy agent is not so much concerned with the secret information about weapons as he is with infiltrating the necessary departments of the government and shaping and controlling the actions of our nation. Now, I intend to name names. John S. Service. And remember that name if you will.
The Cold War had already surfaced fear and tension between the USA and the Soviet Union, and as tensions rose, so did irrationality. McCarthy had exploited the fear of the Americans by accusing hundreds of US politicians that they were communist spies plotting to destroy America by spread of communism. These accusations of politicians led to mass hysteria and created mass political conflict.
One communist on the faculty of one university is one communist too many. One communist among the American advisors at Yalta was one communist too many.
McCarthy's era of fear had taken shape, and the Americans feared not only the Soviet Union and communism, but also themselves.
The growing menace of communism arouses the House of Representatives Un-American Activities Committee.
The House Un-American Activities Committee was created in 1983 to investigate alleged disloyalty and subversive activities on the part of private citizens, public employees, and those organizations suspected of having communist ties. Arthur Miller, a writer who created The Crucible, was found guilty of contempt of Congress for refusing to reveal the names of members of a literary circle suspected of communist affiliation to the HUAC. On June 21, 1965, Miller testified before the HUAC about his political opinions but refused to name others who had joined him in his pro-communist undertakings. The committee's chairman promised Miller that he would not be asked to name names, but broke his word. Miller readily conceded the committee's right to inquire into his own political activities. Unlike many other people, Miller did not invoke the Fifth Amendment's protection against self-incrimination, but rather cited the First Amendment's guarantee of freedom of speech and, by implication, the right to stay silent. He was questioned about the reason for the Communist Party producing one of his plays. He responded and said, "I take no more responsibility for who plays my plays than General Motors can take for who rides in their Chevrolet." In 1975, Arthur Miller was tried and found guilty of contempt of Congress, denied a passport, and was sentenced to a $500 fine or 30 days in jail. But the U.S. Court of Appeals overturned his conviction, ruling that the committee had misled him.
McCarthyism's outrageous witch hunt on so-called communists not only was within the United States government, but affected many others. Just like the Salem witch trials, it was not just limited to a reasonable group of people. Everyone was guilty until proven otherwise. This led Senator McCarthy strongly opposing civil rights groups, including the NAACP, because he found them to be against democratic values of the United States. Another thing that resulted from McCarthyism was blacklists. Blacklists were created to punish people in the entertainment industry who were thought of as communists, but especially those who refused to testify to the HUAC, the House Committee on Un-American Activities. Many of these actors were in Hollywood, which gave Hollywood problems during this time. They were responsible for bringing actors, authors, and producers of movies to testify regarding whether they were communists or if they knew any communists in their field of work. If one of these people were blacklisted, they were not allowed to work in the entertainment industry, even if it wasn't proved or disproved that they were affiliated with communism. Another group of people that were affected by McCarthyism was politicians. If they wanted to trade with China or stop trading with a country that was democratic, they would be at risk of being considered a communist. This outrageous witch hunt's impacts were felt towards the entertainment industry, civil rights activists, and politicians even after McCarthyism was over, because the affected people, even if were innocent, still had to mend their unjustly tarnished reputation.
During the Red Scare and throughout this time period, television had a newfound role in public opinions. Television was the first time people could see and view actions from Congress. Media was heavily affected by the Red Scare and McCarthyism, including Hollywood.
In recognizing a communist, physical appearance counts for nothing. If he openly declares himself to be a communist, we take his word for it. If a person consistently reads and advocates the views expressed in a communist publication, he may be a communist. If a person supports organizations which reflect communist teachings, or organizations labeled communist by the Department of Justice, she may be a communist. If a person defends the activities of communist nations while consistently attacking the domestic and foreign policy of the United States, she may be a communist. If a person does all these things over a period of time, he must be a communist. But there are other communists who don't show their real faces, who work more silently.
Actors were being blacklisted for accusations of communist influences. Unlawful hearings took place against Hollywood's own, including actors and directors, with allegations of communist influence throughout the film industry. Since TV was financed by advertising dollars, anti-communist groups could threaten to boycott goods produced by an individual who was blacklisted. False allegations and statements flew around Hollywood and media at this time, not only causing controversy and putting Hollywood in a frenzy, but also controlling what was shown and what was viewed by the public.
Edward Murrow and Fred Friendly were two radio show hosts that spoke for Hear It Now and later See It Now during the McCarthy era of the 1950s. They strongly opposed communism. Their work strongly centered around reducing the fear of the American people. Murrow believed that McCarthy was exploiting the tension of the Red Scare by accusing innocent people of being communists. He and Friendly worked together to create a program to reveal the fallacies of McCarthy's claims.
No one familiar with the history of his country can deny that congressional committees are useful. It is necessary to investigate before legislating. But the line between investigating and persecuting is a very fine one, and the junior senator from Wisconsin has stepped over it repeatedly. His primary achievement has been in confusing the public mind as between the internal and the external threats of communism. We must not confuse dissent with disloyalty. We must remember always that accusation is not proof, and that conviction depends upon evidence and due process of law. This is no time for men who oppose Senator McCarthy's methods to keep silent, or for those who oppose.
In the late 1950s, McCarthy's accusations and proclamations finally came under attack themselves. Doubt circled the McCarthyism era, and as McCarthy spoke out against the U.S. Army, Joseph Welk defended the case as well as attacked McCarthy. Welk's arguments against McCarthy's irrationality and accusations erupted as he said to McCarthy,
"Have you no sense of decency, sir? At long last, have you left no sense of decency?"
The irrational fear that had erupted in America because of McCarthy began to break down. This show of accusations that had been put on for so long by McCarthy came to a close.
We can deny our heritage and our history, but we cannot escape responsibility for the result. There is no way for a citizen of a republic to abdicate his responsibilities. As a nation, we have come into our full inheritance at a tender age. We proclaim ourselves, as indeed we are, the defenders of freedom wherever it continues to exist in the world. But we cannot defend freedom abroad by deserting it at home. The actions of the junior senator from Wisconsin have caused alarm and dismay amongst our allies abroad and given considerable comfort to our enemies. And whose fault is that? Not really his. He didn't create this situation of fear, he merely exploited it, and rather successfully. Cassius was right. The fault, dear Brutus, is not in our stars, but in ourselves. Good night, and good luck.